Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Alternate History of the World. Let's get into it. So last episode we saw the beginning of World War II. And today we're going to be continuing with World War II. Starting in Spain. As the Germans will be continuing their expansions over in Spain. As Spain is pretty weak compared to Germany as of right now. As Alex Einstein is secretly using all of his advanced technology from the 24th century. So that's not fair, but the Triangle Alliance is going to be, pushing back. Mainly he's using more like 2000s technology, probably using his normal. And who knows? Wait, what is he using? But he will. But Alex Einstein / Germany will be losing Iceland, and the Americas are still sending rapid troops over into Africa. When we go to the Philippines, try to guess what's going to happen here, as the Triangle Alliance loses the Philippines. And they also lose South Korea. The Circle Alliance loses South Korea, and a giant invasion of Japan by the Chinese happens, and they're going to spend a few years going quiet, as they currently make stalemates out here. But before they make stalemates, they will be getting pushed back by the Ottomans and the Russians a tiny bit. Before they make that stalemated front line in order to go ahead and occupy Japan. And also, before that, they will also be able to defeat the Germans in Vietnam. And also, they'll be able to conquer Sumatra, and eventually the Strait of Malacca and the rest of this area. So they'll basically be going quiet for the next few years. And for these guys, the Ottomans are doing very well against the Triangle Alliance Australians here. And well, the Ottomans, will be able to stay like this for a while. And it's not very good for Sweden, as Sweden is going to be greatly defeated, as this is the final nation in the Diamond Alliance other than China. As the Germans will be reinvading Norway, fully taking it back, and eventually are able to capture Stockholm, and eventually are able to defeat this area, and they can start focusing on defeating Russia. Yeah. When we go over here, we can see that the communist Russians are beating back the Ottomans greatly, specifically in the Kazakhstan Central Asian area, as they will be greatly defeating them here. And they'll also be doing a pretty big pushback against the Ottomans over in the Caucasian region, as they go ahead and make the front line look something like this, being stopped at the Caucasian Mountains. When we go to Africa, it's a pretty big story, as the Triangle Alliance is mainly focusing on defeating Africa. As they attempt to break through this front line, this very stable front line here. Yeah, but they will be able to break through. Maybe it's not so stable after all. And some very good generals will be able to go ahead and get some of these areas. And with the help of Egypt, with the help of the Ottomans, will also be able to they will be losing the Suez Canal, or what they have had of it, and will be able to defeat the Germans over here. Yeah. Not that they won't be able to defeat them that much, but this much. Yeah. And well, the Triangle Alliance, the South Americans, will be able to make a landing over in southern Africa. The Germans don't really notice this for a while, as they're mainly working on a stalemated front, until they do notice it. And when they do notice it and they send troops, the push is slower, but there's still troops all the way from every country in the Americas being sent over to here. And what about the Pacific? China's still going quiet, so they don't have to worry about that. And the front line looks something like this, as the Germans' allies are losing badly. Yeah. But where they're having more victories, the Germans, is the Ottoman Persian area, as this Indian country is going to be able to go ahead and, go here and take some more areas of the Persian Gulf. Time to talk about nuclear bombs. Remember these nuclear bomb things? Well, they're being used now, and, they were developed like right before the war. They're pretty strong, and the first nation to launch their nuclear bombs is the Brazilians, as they are going to be launching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of their nuclear bombs. And this is going to greatly replenish the supply of these countries, as their supplies are now 10 nuclear bombs. And how much does this affect others, like the Germans? The Germans now only have 40 nuclear bombs, and the Ottomans, they have 45. And the Chinese weren't affected at all by this. Yeah. But that's 1PO. That's not a number. 10 is a number. But this is going to cause the war to go into mayhem. Well, the world never expected the Triangle Alliance to launch their nukes on all of the nation, on the Germans, or just anybody, as they do massive pushbacks against the Germans over in Africa. And eventually the African front line is going to continue to get smaller and smaller for Germany, as Madagascar is here, and well, the Triangle Alliance is going to be able to fully annex all of Africa. But this is going to warrant a response by everybody else. So the Germans will be launching some of their nukes of their own. And 6, 9, that's like 8 so far. 10 of them will be launched in major, actually 15 of their bombs will be launched over here. And well, the Germans are also going to launch their nuclear bombs into the Ottoman Empire. As more and more are launched throughout all of these areas, and the world, or just the main areas here, become mayhem. And well, oh my. But the world, specifically Alex, was prepared for this, as he predicted that this may happen. But for some reason, because China's neutral, nobody is going to be saying anything about China. And these are the new updated nuclear bomb numbers. That's something. China's still keeping those stable front lines. Well, getting off the nuclear bomb layer, the Germans are going to continue pushing back against the Ottomans over in the Yugoslav areas as they go ahead and get major gains, and especially over in Greece as they capture these whole areas and surround the Ottomans here. As the Germans will be greatly pushing back against the Ottomans and eventually defeating them here. Then the Germans start their pushback against the communists, as they will recapture Estonia and eventually will make major gains capturing St. Petersburg, and eventually will be able to capture major parts of Finland. And this is the front line in Europe. But the Triangle Alliance is also going to lose in Spain. And also the Triangle Alliance is going to gain more territories in Egypt, as they will actually be able to push back in the Suez Canal area. And this is what the front line looks like. And I can remove this random line. But over here, the Ottomans will have major pushbacks against these countries here, as they will be able to push back. Well, like this. And the communists will still be able to greatly push back over here in the Central Asian region, as they go ahead and capture all these territories. But then, the giant finally wakes up. China, having more nuclear bombs, more capability than the whole world, is going to launch tons of nuclear bombs across the entire world. And well, they nuke basically the whole world, as they will just be placing them at random everywhere, launching them everywhere. South America, North America, major cities everywhere, specifically in Europe and the Middle East are where it's targeted most. And also in Russian areas. And well, guess how many nuclear bombs the Germans have now? They have 0. And so do the Ottomans. But not before more nuclear bombs are launched across their territories from other nations, and they basically lose all of their nuclear bombs. And now the nuclear bombs are gone, and the entire world, specifically Eurasia, is blown into smithereens, and China's finally done occupying Japan, and they will do their massive pushback against Oceania, as they will be, within a few days, destroy all of the oceanic forces here, and send millions of troops over into these Indian territories, and will be greatly defeating them, as they will be able to, well, defeat the Ottomans in Central Asia, and absolutely destroy the Russians over here in the Siberian region. The Chinese were the most prepared for this in the war. They reformed the Qing dynasty and for a good cause. And as they now basically occupy all these territories here, and they continue their pushes over here. And one final thing for this video, the Germans will go ahead, capture all of Thrice, and capture this side of Istanbul. And that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Alternate History of the World. See you in the next episode, and bye!